I'm going to talk to you about cutting on the bias. Sometimes you might want to make some bias binding, which in all honesty is much nicer and much better quality than anything you can buy in the shops. It's also free, and sometimes you might need to cut a pattern piece out on the bias. So what is the bias of the fabric? The bias of the fabric will run from here, this corner, right up there on the diagonal. So I'll show you how to do it easily. Your self edges there, I mean, normally you would cut that off, but as this is just a demo, I'm not going to. Bring your fabric over. And place it so the side meets the bottom, and you've then got a diagonal line. Okay. If you're going to be cutting out bias binding, then I would press that, cut it along the line, and cut out strips in whatever size I wanted. You can see that there's plenty of stretch in the bias. Some pattern pieces need you to cut out on the bias. Again, I would mark this with some chalk or maybe some tailor's tacks, because some pattern pieces need to be able to stretch, so they need to be cut on the bias. So that's the bias of the fabric, where that pin line is, you see. And this pattern piece dictates that the grain of the fabric should go on the bias, which is that line. So it's quite simple. I mean, obviously you cut out your fabric a bit better than I've done. You just line the grain line up to your bias line, so you're cutting out your fabric like that, so that the stretch either way. I'll just hold the camera up, then you can see it a bit better. So that's your grain line, and that's your diagonal line, and that is cutting a piece of fabric out on the bias, which will give it plenty of stretch and movement.